It is the middle of July, so I thought it'd be a good time to look at my favorite albums of 2026, and I just wanted to bring in more discussion videos, simple videos like this to the channel. I'm gonna be doing a few of them in the corner, like I've been saying, but I also want to show off my brand new series and all this stuff that I'm working on here on the channel, bringing things back consistently for you guys. I've got a few reactions out this week as well on the second channel. Things have been going great over there on the reaction side of things and stream and everything. So when I'm back from my trip in Kansas, celebrating the girlfriend's birthday this weekend, taking her on a trip. When I get back, we're going to be streaming, we're going to be on the grind, and really excited to continue to work on videos. Make sure to drop a like on the video. I'm really curious what your guys' favorite albums are so far in 2026. Just kind of winging this video. I don't have much time to edit a couple things before I leave. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both of my channels. All the links are in the description and everything. And let's go ahead and start off with my 15 that I have chose. And at the end, I also have a couple, least favorites, disappointments, and also a couple things, honorable mentions or whatever, that I also want to mention in this video as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I got some of my favorites on screen. I'm gonna, kind of ramble as long as I really need to for each and every album and give them a mini review, but we're gonna go ahead, start it off with Octane by Don Toliver. I think the first thing I can say is E85, Rendezvous, some of the best tracks this year. I think E85 is my favorite, the biggest banger on the project, and Don Toliver did drop this at the beginning of the year. I think it will remain my favorite album by him, and also one of my favorites of the year. This whole era was super clean looking from him. He always dressed in all white, but even on his tour, he brought the observatory on the stage. That was sick, and then he has the floating stage over the kids jumping around in the mosh pit. So I didn't go. I missed out on his tour and everything, the one or two chances I probably had to go. But he's absolutely one of the top in the rap game, running shit right now. Some of my other favorites on here, Callback, Rosary with Travis Scott's pretty underrated. I'm pretty sure most people like Gemstone. That's great, performance track on there. Excavator, ATM, always been good to me. Long Way to Calabasas has that extended CD version. I wish it was like the full version of the track, but that's another one of my favorites. Sweet Home, a crazy idea of a song I said in my review. I think I did a tier list to this, but hey, still holds up, is a fun song. I think some of the ladies like that, or some of the girls in the crowd for Octane on tour there, they like songs like that. Not every song is too mainstream or like a body, but that one, catchy to me, just like a lot of these tracks are, super replayable, but they're not all like that, but there's not really too many low points on this project. I mean, Tuition didn't really need like a Lil Baby remix in my opinion, but yeah, there's not too many lows on this album for me. The next album I want to talk about is ADL by Yeat. I'm a huge ADL defender, so we absolutely need to talk about this. Because I know that the Yeat fans are pretty split half and half. Most people that listen to this didn't even like it, and I understand that it's not an album from Yeat where he has hardcore rapping, it's rage, it's high energy, all those things that maybe most Yeat fans would want, an underground fan and stuff like that. But I will say, I am the fan that like the Kanye inspired sounds, maybe alternative, those slower songs. That's what I want to see Yeat bring to the table. So I love Went Wrong with 070 Shake, and I was the guy asking for Elton John, and I was the guy asking for also Kid Cudi and features like that on the track list, and I wanted him to switch it up a bit because I realized when I listened to my favorites like a Trippie Redd and a Drake, whoever, like when I'm shuffling their projects and all the songs I like from them, they're just, all their albums, first of all, are sounding different, and Yeat's definitely getting there. I think he's one of the only people to do that here in the 2020s decade as well, in terms of newer artists, not getting stale already and stuff like that. And I was realizing I always, when I shuffle Yeat, I have to skip around a lot. I always have to play like those in the car songs, high energy things. And I would have to pick and choose all these different eras and sounds that I want from Yeat, just mainly in the rap lane. But I just felt like it was kind of nice to have a few of those slower songs. I know that's not what you mainly listen to Yeat for, I get that, but I just appreciated that as a fan. Like, I have other emotional things to go to, and usually he only saved that for like one or two tracks, something like that on the album, and then he had to get back to business, right? But I felt like this track list absolutely satisfied my needs. It was different from Yeat. I thought it was very polished, very creative, and that's what I enjoyed. So if you didn't like the project, I feel like if you're a Yeat fan, you can still at least call it mid. With the rap songs on there, the super replayable tracks on there. Sorry, they're getting the trash. It's Friday morning. You might hear that a little bit outside, but you're wrong to say Griddle isn't a banger. That, I mean, right away when you drop that track, it smacks you in the face. Purpose General, that is one of his best intros, and not enough people are talking about that, or Live Like This being, I don't know how many streams that has, but that is easily one of the best on the project. Tonight, like, these are all tracks I feel like are staples and that everyone should like on the track list if you're a Yeat fan. Silk Face, to me, might actually be my most replayed song in the last month. It's kind of insane. I think it's just a synthy beat that has really caught me a lot, and I think that's like showing me that the album's aging well, because Back Home, that's another one you can see trend a little bit a few months after release. It's doing well. And then in Beach Please, Romania, I think that's like, it has to be his like best set. I mean, the set list he just did was ridiculous last weekend, and previewed a new song, The Martian, that needs to drop ASAP. Oh my God. But back to Back Home, the fireworks are going off at the end of this set. Before he calls it a night. I don't know why those festivals were so like late at night. Cardi was performing at like 5 a.m. early in the morning. It was insane. But I think that will happen a little bit more, and does happen on Yeat albums. People do end up finding a hit or two off it months and months later, or when it ends up trending. But if you like the rap stuff, I liked My Time with Swizz Beatz, the fresh sounding tracks, the new subject matter and things he's talking about on Up From Here. I mean, those are, again, songs that I wanted, that are under the radar and really provide to the track list, in my opinion. And then Taller, I just threw in there for fun. I like that one. Face the Flame, though, I was always confused because it was such a well done track front to back. Like, it's not like this Osama Sun type of track where it just blows your ears out the second that you hit play, which, hey, there's a couple of good songs on Psychotic. That's about it. And Face the Flame, I was just surprised with the Youngboy feature that I didn't do a little bit better, placed at track 2 on the album. And with Youngboy being the highest certified rapper that we have, his fans go nuts. Yeat, him have linked up, collab before, and then there's like no support for this track at all. Like, I'm geeked up on Molly, geeked up on. I found that shit so catchy, bro. Like, no one else thinks that's fun, dude. Like, no one else fucking dances to music anymore. Like, oh my God, dude. And then it's just, I'm thrown off because Youngboy had a good verse and he's a good feature artist, and then there's no support for this feature at all. But apparently there can be for everything else. But if you didn't like Let King Tonka Talk, bold single. I'm not gonna lie, that probably wasn't the greatest move, but I get it, and I actually ended up liking the beat and the performance, I guess, and the cadence of the track, and just the approach of it, I feel like was a lot different. And so I get it. It's just something that I'm fine with, But Naked, that's too short, and there's a few tracks you could take out of the track list, or maybe put a different version in, maybe put a different Grail in, and I get that. I think that the Benny X and Julia Wolf collabs were super underwhelming, in my opinion. I would replace that or cut them. And that was just because we'd seen them collaborate together, and it wasn't, their best or anything like that. But I'm really curious what you guys think of ADL. Have you, gone back to it? I don't think it's as booty cheeks as people are saying, and it did have a very clean looking rollout. I don't think it was well executed on the double album thing with it having 2 names, but it's not submitted. It's not on Apple Music as a double album, so don't sit here and act like it's supposed to be. Even though that's on Yeat for not having like a great clear direction during the album's experience on those 2 sides, because he put an emphasis in it. I definitely need to see Yeat live. That might be the next concert I go to. I need to buy the Denver tickets, and hopefully go in like less than a month, because that's starting soon. I know Slayer's not opening on tour anymore, but I gotta see the ADL tour, whatever, the Love Life tour, whatever he has the name as. And so ADL, good project at the end of the day. Gotta sit here and defend it for a few minutes on this video. Did I expect Yeat's best album, maybe second best album, with it being so anticipated? That was the thing. I've almost never anticipated an album for this long and to this degree. I mean, that was certainly up there with my other goats, maybe anticipating like the next Cardi album, like all that stuff. I mean, ADL was very, very long awaited for me. And I didn't exactly get that, but that doesn't mean the album is extremely disappointing and bad. I'm going back to it all the time. I still think it's good. And I just think we live in this era nowadays where if it's not your highest selling and it's not your best project each and every year, then I don't know, like the label's gonna start shelving you, people are gonna switch up on you, they hate you now. And I can't be the only one that realizes that at this point in rap, I won't speak for other genres. Maybe this just happens to my favorite artists, I don't know. But all these artists that get established or make it past their first few years and projects and everything, let's say they have, a stamped career like a Yeat, then at some point their fans are gonna switch up on them, completely part ways. I like this sound, I like this sound. Trippie Redd, another one of my favorites. People get so stuck up on do they like the rage music since he's helped pioneer that, or do they like his emo music? Do they like his, singing, melodic stuff? Is this year better than this year? Different voices, all these different eras and beat selections, and it becomes a huge debate. But why not just listen to it all? Like I feel like there should just be more of a conversation without negativity around these artists, and in terms of like, I like this sound, I like this sound, but I just don't think the conversation for some of these artists needs to be so negative about how they're like falling off and they're trash and all this stuff now. I mean, look at the switch up they even did to Uzi just because one project, Eternal Atake 2, wasn't really, super commercially done well and wasn't super loved by the fans. I was someone that's continued still to this day have a lot of problems with that project, but never in my life did I hesitate to say that Lil Uzi Vert is falling off. I mean, if you're someone that goes that extremes, like I'm probably gonna say this for another video and recover some of these points, but you're kind of the problem with hip hop and kind of its failure in the last couple of years, in my opinion. Let's move to Iceman. Ridiculous amount of great songs on Iceman. I love that he put like the actual block of ice in Toronto. And the other crucial thing he did, and some of the best visuals I've seen, was the Iceman episode 4, that he was kind of previewing the night that this album came out. And then he surprised us and did 3 albums in total. I'm not going to talk about the other 2 really in this video, but Iceman, the rap album, that was super focused. It was well done overall, and I think that was because usually Drake pushes it over 20 tracks. He has to add a Meet Your Padre. He has to do the singing on this one. Maybe this one's the hit. This one's the club song. And I feel like, the Spanish influence song, the accent song, and I just feel like he always has to check these boxes, get up to 20 tracks, please his audience in many different ways, but this time he just kept it to a great rap project with Iceman and then did the other things on the other projects, which I loved. So he was snapping on national treasures, plot twists, like that's what I love the most. Reunites with Future on Ran to Atlanta. I was in the mosh pits when Molly Santana actually performed this. Molly Santana knew Hannah Montana. And thank you, Drake, for picking the actual best female rapper in the game to collaborate with. We don't need to be listening to all the other, ass shakers in the game and everything. Molly's actually good and got her moment and everything. The lyrical side of Drake came back, the Timestamp series also, but the Make Them series is what it really was on Iceman. The intro, wow, I was underrating it the first weekend. Make Them Pay, equally as good. Drake is just throwing disses and punches throughout this album. He wasn't scared to talk about anything. I thought he was really on point and picked probably his best songs and flows for a lot of this. I enjoy like the hits kind of being pushed like a shebang. Janice STFU, I get the vocal style now. I was pretty surprised that this is the biggest hit, highest charting song on the album. I'm not gonna lie, but I now understand it. I find it a little catchy. I see how, it would be trendy and like girls would like it as well, but it's never been, I mean, now it's grown on me a lot more, but like when the album came out, it was like never really on like the top half of the project for me. But you could almost pick, damn near any song on the first half of the album. It's valid. I even thought Bees on the Table was good, and that's because the second half of it, the beat switch. I mean, same thing happens with Dust too. There's just a random extra beat thrown at the end, and you definitely could ask for a tad more out of Drake on this album. It's not like a 10, but when you hear Whisper My Name, like that's what we want from Drake, and that's what we wanted from the visuals and everything, and kind of him being pissed off. You could absolutely tell. And kind of taking that break and, having a long-awaited album, post-beef, all this stuff. It was absolutely worth it, which feels great, and you don't always get that as a Drake fan, or I feel like I'm never able to say it's like a 10 out of 10, but it's almost there, or most of the time I can say it's good or a different approach, and never really hold it to that high of a standard or degree. Usually Drake albums are Drake albums, they're moments, but it's again hard to like each and every song on there. But this is one where pretty much almost every single one was good. The only thing I wrote down was like the last four is kind of the weaker leg of the project for me, but you still have a very good lyrical outro. Still talking about Kendrick on that one. It's just songs like Lil Birdie. That one's probably my least favorite on the track list. Definitely can't overplay that one on its own. Iceman, No More Mr. Nice Man, and I think it was his best album possibly of this decade. I was a huge Her Loss fan, but I think this is more focused and put together well than For All the Dogs, maybe even a Certified Lover Boy, which does have really high highs as well, makes that really close. But I hold it as one of his better albums, and I think we really needed that from Drake post Beef. And again, like I said, made it extremely worth it. The Fall Off by J. Cole was another one of my most anticipated albums. And those three probably were my most anticipated right here. ADL, Iceman, The Fall Off. I know I have other favorite artists and everything, but those were major for me. And we got to talk about J. Cole. I feel like going back to his roots, he had the double disc thing here, talking about his age back when he was 29. 39. This was a whole kind of retirement era for J. Cole, which I do think is true, and that's kind of all he's done this decade is tune up on features and get out mixtapes, feed the fans, whatever he needs to do to sharpen the pen to get to this point. And another album I think was worth the wait. The only thing I would say was each disc, each track list or whatever probably should have been just 10 or 11 songs. I know there's intros in there as well, but I think that would have made a huge game changer on this project. I do want to shout out my favorite songs on there, because 39 intro is ridiculous. I know you get through some singing, it's the longest track on there. Some people that's gonna bother them a little bit, but when it gets going, it's one of the best moments this entire year. 2-6, a lot of people like that one, obviously. Lonely at the Top has always been there for me. The Fall Off is inevitable. Did that really cool video right before it dropped. Who the F Is You? He's got energy on that one. And a really different type of beat on there. A good amount of variety too. Like Life Sentence, I don't even know if that's spelled correctly. That's your melodic. That's singing J. Cole. That's the pop almost. So he had different bags on here. I think it's hilarious that Future though was on here multiple times. He's just collaborated with everybody in the rap beef at this point. Whether it's Drake, Future, Kendrick, he's been did the shit with Metro still. I mean, it's kind of insane how he's the one doing all that. But Run a Train was always good. The Whole World and The Whole World Is a Ville, maybe the most slept on song on the project, just because it is so towards the end and everything. Old Dog, there's definitely a few others and so many that I could mention. I think the track list is really held up, and even with it having a lot of songs and a million lyrics on it, you also have the Birthday Blizzard EP that he did throw together 4 tracks, warming up, giving us the date going into the Fall Off, and now that's put it on streaming. I've been bumping this so much recently in the last week or so. 99 Build Freestyle at the end of it, ridiculous, one of the best beats of the year, and probably would be one of the best songs on the Fall Off. And I had to write that one down in there because it is one of my favorites again. But I love this album that it's grown on me, like a song, the lyrical storytelling of a Quick Stop. I'm glad that actually has grown on me quite a bit. A What If with Moray, and there's a few others that really haven't gone away, or a couple of the other ones with the singing features, the one with Erykah Badu. Like, I didn't know if these would be my favorite or anything, but they ended up being pretty solid at the end of the day. Let me know what you guys think of the Fall Off. Honestly, I didn't know that there was a lot of J. Cole haters out there, but I just think rap has moved away from lyrics a little bit now at this point. I do not think, at the end of the day, I was hoping for his best. I was saying J. Cole, hyping up this project. I was the guy saying J. Cole, like, he can drop potentially one of the greatest rap albums ever. Okay, and maybe that was my fault, but he was showing me signs of that through a lot of years and after some of his other albums. But I still got 2014 up there, off season for sure. But this absolutely was in that conversation. The Fall Off was amazing. I like that it was just his home studio back in the day. He had a lot of nostalgia for J. Cole fans there on the cover, bringing the car around, just signing CDs to fans, actually dapping them up, just being with the people. He's always been humble, just dressing in hoodies, riding the bike, you know what I'm saying? And he kind of played right into that. His tour just started this week in his hometown. You knew it had to start in North Carolina. It looks absolutely insane. I'm sure the prices are decent on it, and that there's actually a lot of old people standing on the floor, like right at the front row and everything with his audience. But it looks amazing. He's like rapping with fans, and that's one of the GOATs at the end of the day. Next up, we got Casino by Baby Keem. I wish I saw more love for this. And I don't really feel like it was something that was hanging on for too many weeks that people were talking about in hip hop and everything. And we'll probably see Baby Keem again by next year or end of this year or something. A lot more of a shorter track list, a lot more of a different approach, talking about where he's raised from and everything. Of course, Kendrick was going to be on here, but he was kind of uncomfortable on his verse. Momo Boyd, we have been shown her from Baby Keem this year. She seems very talented. She did her thing. And then Dramatic Girl, the pop song, like that's actually my favorite. That's been a soundtrack song of 2026 to me. It's one of my most played songs of the year, and I think that's where Baby Keem has that range. But if he wants to come in with a title track, a Circus freestyle, he's gonna shut the house down. That's someone I saw at Summer Smash. I was anticipating his set because I liked the stage he has, the actual slot machine noises and everything's really good. You got to hear Dante on the intro, and then it drops and it's just everyone's going nuts. His mosh pits are good. He's energetic. He obviously has his hits with Family Ties and all that. But House Money, Highway 95 Part 2, and those lyrical tracks were good. I'm Not a Lyricist kind of has a weird off-brand Andre 3K feel to it. Just something of the track that's nostalgic but bothers me about it, but also it's decent. I'm torn on it still. Birds and the Bees, even with the music video, I've never really loved it that much, but this is still one of the better albums this year. I think it actually might be my favorite Baby Keem project, and that is insane to say because I know everyone likes the Melodic Blue. I do too, but I find skips on there. I find like, oh, I don't care for that feature. And then, Deluxe has some stuff, but I'm not bumping every song off the Deluxe. And it's a lot of songs. It's like a compilation to me at this point. Obviously, you have 16 on there, Trademark USA, and so many other hits on there. And that was a huge moment for him. He took that break, came back with this, and not every rapper gets that love when they do take a break a little bit. Think about like a Polo G or something. But I want to see more love for Casino. Let me know if you like that project, because I feel like let me go back to this. I feel like when I become a Baby Keem fan and I'm like trying to be cool, like, oh, I fuck with Baby Keem, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of other people that are Kendrick fans, or, I don't know, they're more of a conscious hip hop fan. Like maybe they like a Baby Keem and maybe they don't like a newer like Ken Carson, stuff like that. And so I don't know. I just thought, I was like, I finally liked Baby Keem a lot more because I didn't really love him when I first heard his name, like the Orange Soda stuff and whatnot. And so I felt like this was kind of supposed to be a bigger moment than it was. And I feel like I'm kind of, again, one of the only people out there that's bumping this, because I don't know too many Baby Keem fans in my real life. But let's talk about DC the Don, The Rumors Are True. I'm kind of talking about this as like a mixtape because he did add the Riff Raff 2013 thing on there. I mean, it's sitting next to Rebirth in his catalog. 9 songs is enough. There are albums and mixtapes that are 9 songs. There's plenty of them in the last year. We got to talk about this thing because DC the Don, and I did a kind of mini review on this. I think I deleted it, but I was trying to do a tier list. I think right here he perfectly merged his like pop sounds, former sounds that he had with his rap style, with newer production. And I thought, Louis OTK, I mean, whoever he's working with on here did their job. Like the beats on here, Pop Star, Nervous, Kill the DJ, Lie to Me. Like that's how you get sucked in right away to the project. 10 out of 10. Hollywood, always been personal favorites for me. I like those rap cuts. I like fun songs to play in the car. It's very like lighthearted in my opinion. This is one of the more like fun projects of the year, and I like that he added like one more track to it and everything. Very good, very good length of project. That kind of bite-sized DC the Don music, because I like every single song from it, and so I'm able to just kind of keep playing it over and over again, and it is one of the better projects this year. I'm glad that I'm a huge DC the Don fan now. If you know me, I did not like his music a few years ago, and he's really won me over with now his last 3 projects and everything that he's put out. So I'm gonna keep doing more reactions to him and everything. But DC the Don, I want to see him do Heaven Offline next. I mean, that could possibly be even better, but I will be talking about Rumors Are True for most this year. Selena in the Weekend down here. That was a track I was kind of on the fence with for the first few weeks, and it came out. Different tempo to it for sure, and now I think about it a lot more. Let's go into another shorter project. Wasn't this like 9 or 10 tracks by the end of it? Blog Era Boys, MGK, Wiz Khalifa did a collab tape together. They did, pop songs, and we're biting into nostalgia on Girl Next Door. That kind of had old school Wiz Khalifa vibes on it as well, just like a lot of these did. But miles per hour, everything tatted. Those were trap beats. They were rapping like crazy. Wiz kind of filled all his pockets well, and he did feel like, the feature most of the time with MGK setting it up. I mean, they went stupid on miles per hour. Even like the auto tune at the end was hilarious, but good. Passport's kind of the bag. It's you're thinking a little bit more. It's lyrical. Grind Every Day, solid. Family Over Everything, solid. Good for the project and everything, but not like my favorites or most played or anything like that. Stoned is all right. Definitely could be a lot more detailed. I don't know. I don't think it will age that well. It's kind of basic. Fiberglass, cool, but I would have put it in the middle of the project. So maybe I just wanted the last song of the project to be a different ender or send off. But Blog Era Boys is good. They did this whole, tour together and everything. I think Wiz was even doing most of his verses on Twitch. He's been streaming. So yeah, they just did a whole crazy tour together and everything. I'm not even sure how much it was profiting, but it was a good extension of the MGK show I saw last year, Lost Americana tour. Really liked that album last year. I was talking about it a lot. Made some, a crazy video on that and a few other things. But Blog Era Boys, I always love the support from MGK community and everything when I check out his music. This has been really cool to see the collab that Wiz Khalifa and MGK have put together. I didn't know they're like long time friends like that. Even had a song from like 13 years ago. I went back and checked out. That should have been the bonus track on here. That would have been pretty fun. This whole thing dropped way sooner than I thought it was going to, but it was really cool that they did do those shows together. After that, we gotta talk about my GOAT. Before I forget, Deluxe, the Kid Leroy. I forgot to write Leroy at the top of the screen, but you already know. I gotta talk about this project with the Deluxe edition that he did add was wow, life-changing, I believe. This is crazy to say, but this project, before I forget, with the Deluxe is pretty easily 24 for 24 in my opinion, and a lot of the Deluxe songs, as many of those are, reached the heights of the original album, which really put that into perspective for me, how great this was, because it dropped on like the first or second week of the year, and it's gonna remain one of my top albums of the year. Just, I mean, you know how much of a Leroy fan I am, but I wouldn't say that if like the project wasn't good or wasn't hitting, but still to this day, like I can really appreciate everything. I like the pop songs in private. I know we went for that a few times. Rather Be with the feature, with the second half of the song, the sample, him making this whole album about, missing her, a lot of it's about Tate McRae, almost every lyric. I think this is one of his best, like, put together tracks, like, well all around tracks, and is one of the most popular on there. Never Came Back, the bridge on that's insane. Some of his singing just hit new heights on this project. Me and You, another lyrical type of intro from Leroy that I love. He always kills it on intro, but he's gonna be talking his shit a little bit. He's in a new relationship now and everything, so you kind of are looking back at a lot of things, or what he was feeling last year out of getting out of this relationship. So he's really sad on a piano ballad of Maybe I'm Wrong. July, it is July right now. Been bumping that a lot more. Come Down. These tracks have just been really smooth on the track list. Will always be good. Have great instrumentals. And I like that Biff was this complete like different thought that Leroy put together. Like it worked out really well. Like that, I was super nervous last fall when I was like, oh shit, he's scrapping the album, delay. No clue what's gonna happen. Break up with Tay McRae, and we ended up getting just pure greatness out of it. And Leroy is definitely that artist that, you know, locks in and makes even better music when he shaves his head or like breaks up with his girlfriend or does something crazy like that. I'm torn with the deluxe now. Like it's gonna take a while sitting on that and my love for TFT in terms of like what my favorite project is gonna be from him. But Biff is absolutely up there. I mean, I put not least favorites at the bottom this time or critiques or anything. I just separated the main album and the deluxe here because there is no skips on there. Back to Love, that's the sounds I want. I always love, you know, Justin Bieber and everything, so I thought he had some inspiration on this whole track list too. Echoes, that's what I want to feel. That's the space I want to be in sometimes when I'm hearing Leroy. Hold Still, Quit You, just a more amazing instrumentals. I condemn like the Starboy Out of Town beat. That was ridiculous. I don't even know why he put that on the deluxe, why he went and shot a video for that, why he felt like doing that. I don't know. I think he just wanted to satisfy the rap fans. He was pissed that day. I'm not really sure. Very different mix. But after the first listen, it really caught on as actually one of my favorite rap tracks of the year. And I didn't know how much I would love his performance on there. And I'm just kind of rapping along with the verses and everything. Does he perform this? Because I don't know like how much people really like this. It's an absolute, you know, crossing paths of producers and singers, and just it almost doesn't make sense at times, but it's, I don't know, it's just really cool that it's out. Weakest Feeling, another very good pop song on there. He went for a few of those summery sounding tracks on Biff. And with that variety and with all these other favorites, and my favorites constantly changing, like you can't just pick one or two to say are the best on this project. There's days where I think this is number one. There's days where I've thought this is number three, but it has not moved from that position. I just want to absolutely make that clear. Damn, dude, I haven't done great with tours this year. Leroy, you know, I got spoiled the last 3 years before this, 3 tours before this, where I didn't have to drive that far, you know, in my hometown, couple hours, 3 hours, and, you know, I just wasn't really able to go back to Chicago back to back, you know, 8-hour drives to catch Leroy this year, although Tommy Richmond looked like a good opener on his tour and everything. I'm excited to see what Leroy does next. We'll see if we get more collabs, and I'm fed off this music for the rest of the year. So if he wants to take his time and do whatever, I don't care. I guess I want to keep seeing visuals, and it looks like his shows across the globe and his life right now looks lit, honestly. And so I just want to see Leroy keep killing it. That's honestly my thing, is just kind of just rooting for the guy at this point, being one of my favorites. Let's go ahead into another one of my favorites, Glaive. He finally did the project with Curtains, God Save the Three, and it really was perfect. I was looking at the track list last night once again, and you know, I saw them on tour in January. They performed the band and Troubles months before they were even released. They were jamming out to those on stage. They did such a good job with their shows that they were doing, and you know, I think they're doing more as well. Those songs are so replayable. You know, they're like all sorts of bouncy beats on here, but then if they want to do acoustics, then they'll do that. If Glaive wants to rap, he'll do that. Flyin' the Rock song, oh my god, one of my favorite tracks this year. So much fun into the last drop as well. And I think even Curtains, he gets his moment. They kind of each had a solo song. Western Supermare, like these are the alternative vibes I wanted to hear from them, and it's so cool that they both just recorded this and also mixed and produced the whole thing and put it together. And I think that's what makes Western Supermare have to, and all these things that they're talking about and singing together, you know, just taking turns with verses, writing it together, all this stuff. I thought it was done so beautifully. Crisis Spin Around are, you know, some of the slower moments that I like as well. Spin Around's pretty special. I mean, Glaive on each and every project is going to have those slower moments that really wow you, you know, 1 or 2 tracks on there, you know, you're going to be sad for, you're really going to feel, but yeah, this track list, like I said, is really good. It pulls you a lot of different emotions and everything, and it's just kind of the perfect length of a track list. as well, I want to say. And, you know, it was good to see Glaive do a couple of these songs. I've obviously seen him live multiple times and already once this year, but when I saw him at Summer Smash, he got a last second kind of set thrown in there at like 5 p.m. on a Saturday. I was glad to see him do Let's Link Up and Die, the band, and a couple of the new songs was something I absolutely love. Tiffany Day was watching his set at Summer Smash. I caught her songs. It's a name that I got recommended so much, and I finally got around to Halo, one of my favorite albums of this year, when I finally did react to it a few weeks ago, and I got back from Summer Smash, and wow, it was life-changing. I didn't realize how dancey it was, EDM, just this new lane of hyperpop, whatever you really want to call it. Pretty for You, Do It For Me, Breakup, Copycat, No Luck. I would say that is my top 5 most replayed. Even that middle of the project. Oh my god, it's like disgusting. It might be somewhere around, let's just say tracks 3 to 6 even. Maybe that might be still towards the first half of the project, but somewhere around there where a lot of those tracks are is ridiculous and maybe one of the best runs, if not the best run this entire year, dude. Tiffany's an absolute talent. I love that she did visuals and music videos for almost every single song. Like a lot of it was like homemade and everything, and I think that's what people need to do. Let's not give up on visuals. People are being lazy with their music videos, and Tiffany Day said, hell nah, I'm just going to show off my personality and show off who I am. Farewell Toledo had a nice beat to it. American Girl was nice. Same LA. Can't really go wrong with those tracks. To me, just tracks 8 through 10 are a little bit weaker, but there's not really too many low moments on this project. I pretty much like them all. I actually just yesterday bought the CD, the vinyl. They looked really detailed, and so I made sure to cop that because I absolutely will spend that money for a project that blew me away and a new artist, like that feeling of discovering a new artist that you fell in love with and you can't stop playing their music, or you really like this project from them that's brand new that you got put onto or a friend put you onto. It's just a beautiful feeling, honestly. Now we got Half Blood with Slayer. I thought he would be a good follow-up to Tiffany Day since they were on stage together and even did a single together a few weeks ago. Bloodlux was the deluxe to his life-changing album Half Blood. I mean, it's just one thing I gotta say is we gotta talk about Slayer making Half Blood and Bloodlux and some of his recent music at just 18 years old. I think he's 19 now. I think he had a birthday when he dropped Home Runner, like one of those singles this year. This run he's been on with his recent EP, like every single song he's dropping is quality. He's transitioning into the next. He's bringing different elements of his inspirations and genres, and he's not just making this one-sided rage music. He's not just blowing out your ear. It's super bubbly. It's creative. I think he has a good voice, and he's gonna fire rapid flows at you. He's gonna be singing auto-tune. He just has so many ideas, which I love. But Eyesight is great. Paint a Picture, he's really had a good ear for melody, and I think he can make super replayable songs. It's not all just like transition bait. You don't just all get caught up in like, oh, crazy sounds. Like there's actual replayable songs in there that people are loving, like a Toxic. Like even with the beat switch in there, I'm surprised that's one of his most popular. But Rax, love that. His intros are amazing. Brain Fog obviously had to be on there. Died But Came Back is another favorite. That and Paint a Picture were like actually my favorite when it initially released. Brand New, Hard Knock, like there's just so many Slayer songs you honestly could write down. He to me is on this list right here because I've said this before in the EP reaction, he's held on this pedestal. Like you have all these other guys in the underground down here. I'm gonna roast a couple of them in a minute, but he is just completely in his own lane, upstairs, up here, putting together projects like this. I want him to keep going up, make that collab with Skrillex, get in a video with that, link up with this person, whatever it is. I want him to go to the top, and he's been so consistent. Like the amount of projects and like not really missing all this stuff and being so consistent with all this music reminds me of when I first fell in love with Yeat that first year. And that shouldn't be crazy to say because Slayer's a breath of fresh air in the underground, in my opinion. A lot of people are sounding similar, or their problems are that they don't really have a good voice. Their auto-tune sucks, like a Che, Osama Sun. People are using the wrong voices, like a Netspend now, and Cardi even. Cardi's not in the underground, but you know what I'm saying. I'm having such a great time, with my mood getting changed and my life feeling great. Listen to Slayer, and it's that happy type of music. I don't understand this burger type of music thing. Like, I never thought he was too fat. And I'm all for, like, internet jokes and everything, but I think that type of stuff nowadays actually has repercussions on people's music, because how many people don't have their own opinion, or how many people are just gonna like play into the joke or just think it's ass because there's a nickname for it and all this stuff. It's crazy how much that actually like affects the music and everything nowadays. Flash Out Freestyle, when he has done like a freestyle on each project, I haven't loved it. He sometimes will go a little too crazy, a little too fast with his rapping, or it might have a few punches from the drums I'm not really rocking with, and just, yeah, like there can be maybe a high energy track in there on a project on the first half that I just kind of, haven't been addicted to or anything, but I'll play with the project. I can't mess up the transition or anything like that. Concrete Boys, It's Us Volume 2 snuck into my top 15 so far. I think I realized after seeing them live, they came to Omaha, I met them, did a vlog. That was super sick. I was just grateful they came to Omaha, because we haven't had very many shows this year. We don't really get too many great rappers or anything like that. But one of my favorite groups, if not my favorite group in hip hop right now, Lil Yachty wasn't there at the show, but he's all over this project. A lot better than Volume 1. I just like these beat selections. No Caribou on this one. I think she's back now. I think they're making It's Us Volume 3, so we never know. We never know what could happen there. But I like that they brought a lot more like features along on this project. Switch it up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Everyone had their moment. I think they over time have gotten better and better, just collaborating with each other, put a verse here, switch the beat here. I think it's a lot more immersive now. Even though the saxophone beats and everything were cool, I thought they put together a more interesting track list even this time around. Even if it's like a millionaire and doing a video like that, like that's kind of the game changing stuff on this project. And Crete Cypher intro was amazing. And then some of my personal favorites that I've been playing the most: Three Syrups, absolutely. Top Option Boys, one of my favorite tracks this year. Camo killed it. He's been kind of my favorite in Concrete, but then, Draft's been getting a lot better as well. 16-Year-Old Drank, another great beat on it. Rio, he only been out of jail for like in the last, year or so, but cool to see him on there. The V's features, he had 2 on there. I wrote down, I was very disappointed. I thought on the couple tracks he was added on to that he was going to be a little bit better. Him and Yachty's collab's cool. I like to see that, lane of collaboration with Yachty, Lucky, Rilo, Baby, all those guys with V's. And I want to see more of that for sure. They got some good songs, but then there's also other times where they don't really hit as much. Although good beat on there. 285, Race to an M, some solo songs that aren't the craziest, but I'd play them with the project, because WTF, Push It are amazing. If I Wasn't Rapping as well, actually Sleepily has one of the best beats on it. I think this whole project too, like Yachty's group, all this stuff is still pretty slept on. Like I've gotten more hate for just saying I like Concrete Boys, and I think they're one of the best groups than anything. Like no one's showing me another good group out here. Like Opium, they barely collab together. Like quit saying they're the best. I'm not taking some of these underground groups. The only thing that you can probably say is better is like Griselda guys and all this stuff, but I would say, obviously people my age have listened to them and stuff, but I personally have been too young for their music in previous years, and even nowadays there's so much rap. Like I'm still getting there. I'm still getting to stuff to listen to, but I don't know. There's not too many groups nowadays. Migos, obviously split up and everything. So to me, they're like by far like the best group out. Draft Day had the best solo song with Trust Me. And yeah, I think another thing I want to mention is like a boat rap project. I think is long overdue at this point, and we'll see if we get Caribou and actually get the Volume 3 and everything, popped out the reunion show and let the boys go on tour and everything, which was cool. But now we'll see what's next from here. I like their interview they did all together. They should have been at Summer Smash. I thought that was robbery. That was definitely a group I wanted to see on stage for sure. And I think they're going to keep leveling up and getting better. I just think like when it comes to Camo, I want to see his solo music push more, and that kept consistent. And like really from all of them, like let's make sure that we're still dropping our own singles and projects and like moving in that direction as well, because I think it'll be good for their careers. You want to go to their page and have songs that aren't just featuring Lil Yachty on there, aren't just Concrete Boys stuff on there. I want to feel like I can listen to them too when I'm not just in a, freestyle rapping, collaboration, trap, I don't know, just trap music and those type of beats, whatever it is. If I'm not exactly in that mood, I want to hear something a little bit different. I want their solo catalogs too. We're gonna switch it up a little bit more on this half of the video. Do That Again with Malcolm Todd, an artist I've fell in love with in the last couple months. Got a lot of recommendations from him. Got to his new album a little over a month ago, and I'm pretty impressed. He's very witty. He's different. He's funny. I think intentionally it's supposed to be awkward or sound a little bit off with the acoustics and everything like that. On Do That Again. Now I just did Sweet Boy. I just posted my reaction to that. So many people were asking for that on my reaction channel and everything, and that was amazing. That was actually more Steve Lacy like, way better production in my opinion. And there's some catchy songs, some funny songwriting on here as well. Like that's kind of the type of person he is. Malcolm in the Middle, a lonely song, even has that iconic sample in it and everything. Free 99, X's and O's, Difficult Love, I Saw Your Face, Gun to My Head. Difficult Love, that was a hit, dude. I Saw Your Face, that was my favorite of the singles. But I really like this lane that he's in. The R&B alt type of stuff. I've found it pretty replayable, and he's been owning my rotation a lot recently. I think this album has, I liked it a lot, but then I think it's only actually moved up a few slots the more and more I listen to it. And Do That Again is also a project too, where I'm catching myself kind of just throughout the day, really wanting to play these songs or having them catch on and everything. And it's cool that, I haven't heard his debut album and self-titled, but I want to see how each and every project, kind of the sound changes, maybe the lyrical topics and everything, because he was more, not that it was super sad, but he was kind of more heartbroken, I guess, on his first album. And I just thought he was straight goofy and talking about living in hotels on this new project. So I want to see that switch up a little bit more. I think a lot of like new artists or people that get pushed like this, they just get called like an industry plant, and like Do That Again actually did pretty solid and like went number 5. And so I just kind of want to gauge where his career's at and everything and his popularity. And I just think it's really cool that he does have so much support in a fan base that I didn't know, because sometimes you like discover artists and like, whoa, there's like a whole nother world out there type of deal. And that's what I kind of felt with Malcolm Todd. I felt like I was a few months late on that. Breathe grew on me for sure. That was one I didn't ever upload a video on, but it took me a few listens. I like it a lot now. Goodbye also is just purposely sung bad at times, if that makes sense. But in a good way. I think that's why it adds to the track list, and it's just kind of, at times you are listening to just Malcolm be goofy with his guitar or just come up with something stupid to say, and that's kind of all you picture. You seem pretty sad for a girl so in love. I hope I got that title written down right. I didn't really double check it. Olivia Rodrigo, I've been torn on if this is her first or second best album. I just, Guts does have that deluxe, which might just, I had a feeling that deluxe was going to be an unbeatable, just, it's not even really fair, what I'm saying, to have that. But What's Wrong With Me has been a clear favorite on this project for me. Robert Smith of The Cure, Olivia Rodrigo did a good job showing off her inspirations, I felt like, on this project. She picked great singles with The Cure, Drop Dead, those were replayable. I'm here for Maggots for Brains. I feel like that's the type of sound I want to hear on a few songs from Olivia and that I want to play back. Of course, she's going to have her sad songs, piano ballads, Honeybee, very stripped back, emotional and everything. And I think one thing too, it kind of is a concept album with the whole going from love and you're so special and we're gonna have a future together and everything. And she switches somewhere around like the second half of the album towards the end, where she's left in a different space. She's speaking differently about this guy and everything. So the ending of the project too is still growing on me a little bit. It is a nice listen. I think it's just like professionally, if that makes sense, done well in terms of like the genre of pop and alternative a little bit there. Expectations, I don't know, slightly dull. Like it's not a no skips album for me. I've never really thought that much. Cigarette Smoke still growing on me and a few others throughout the track list. And that's just because there's a lot of music this year, a lot of good music this year. I have a lot of favorite projects, to be honest. I don't have too much to like hate on this year. I'm going to mention, one more to break down here in a second. It's crazy. I was pretty satisfied with the whole thing here. I guess, we've been listening to her since like quarantine or whatever. She was really, blowing up out of the whole Disney era and everything. And so that's kind of right away where she came out with a bang, Driver's License, getting hits and stuff like that. And I feel like I've really come around to her music a lot. That was not really something that I felt like was targeted towards me when I was late in high school, you know what I mean? And I feel like over time I've really appreciated her music in the last few years, understood it a lot more. That's absolutely for certain. And shit, I'm a guy, dude. I'm not gonna be afraid to enjoy some Olivia Rodrigo and some of these other pop artists because I grew up with such goated pop music, so I'm never really gonna leave some of the pop music down. You know, I'm never gonna leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But lastly, a personal favorite. It's not on all streaming. You might know me. I'm a long time Logic fan, probably for 10 years now. One of the first artists I could ever really say I'm a fan of. He came out with The Ballad of Rooster Jenkins, is this concept album he's been talking about for so long. It finally, arrived. He's done a couple 30-track albums, which are super intimidating. But if you know Logic, he does so many skits on this project, or really tries to put together this audio book within an album, if that makes sense. And so he's done that a couple times with some of his longer albums and whatnot. You're kind of hearing him rap and put together stuff and weave his way through the storyline of it. But if you are a fan of Django Unchained, then you'll follow along a little bit better. This is not AI. It's like straight up Morgan Freeman narrating this thing, which is insane. And it's about a story of a runaway slave. There's so much action involved. He's meeting, a gunslinger and all these other characters. They go to jail, they rob a train. You follow along with this whole Western. You feel like you're in Red Dead Redemption the whole time. You're picturing so much. It's so cool. There's so many sound effects that were well done, and like it's fairly easy to follow along. Like I feel like it does take a few listens, or I have gone back and okay, what did if you're not like fully paying attention to the story, like that bothers me, and I need to go back 10 seconds to hear what Morgan Freeman said once again. But I would highly recommend checking this out if you are a Logic fan. I probably posted it, or you can get links at this point. You kind of got to do like a lot of skipping around and whatnot, but I will say when Logic is at his best and he wants to rap, he wants to do some boom bap shit, he's one of the best rappers in the game. I don't care. Tokyo Time, great representation of that. Soul Food 3, I can't believe he actually did that. Not even touching the other ones, for sure, but I like to see stuff like that. The Darjeeling Unlimited, that's a little bit too short of a track, but that's been my favorite. Reaching Through the Heavens, like the way it ends, that whole instrumental. I mean, even like this long, there's like just a cinematic outro, last few minutes and everything as the story concludes. That's kind of sneakily one of my favorites. Supreme with T-Man the Wizard. Hey, shout out T-Man the Wizard too, because he was opening up at Red Rocks for Logic and Oliver Tree, rest in peace. I can't believe that was last October where Logic was popping out to Red Rocks, and kind of that's where he, I originally got to see on the screen there the pre-order to his movie and everything. So that came out last winter, his first independent movie, Paradise Records. That's actually where this album kind of came from. He was trying to give us like extra albums like through the movies, and there's been a lot of things that have fallen flat for Logic in terms of his releases, the way he's gone about some projects, or eventually, just wait times for things, shipping time for things. It hasn't been the greatest in the last year or two for Logic. We all know he's been in this retirement era anyway the last few years, so I'm not going to take it too seriously as like a longtime fan, but this is a really cool, another album that I always wanted to listen to, or I always thought the concept of it was cool, hearing Logic talk about it, and I thought it was kind of a myth, you know what I mean? So it's I think that's why I like 2026 a lot, because I never thought I would hear this album, or the fall off did happen. Iceman happened. ADL happened. Some of these other artists are dropping their best projects. Some of these artists are new artists that I love and are life-changing to me right now, like a Tiffany Day in a Slayer. It's insane. Other songs I wanted to mention, though, A Man Free, Raiders of the Lost Art with Madlib. He had some nice producers like that. Even Conductor. Akai, super replayable. A couple short songs he likes to do. Even a minute and a half, just rap like that every once in a while. But yeah, check it out if you can. Really, really liked it. Maybe a couple too many instrumental tracks in there. I would have cut, a few. Really don't get the purpose of the extra bonus tracks or whatever. At the end, Logic, he's old or whatever, so he used AI for his track list and to recreate a picture on the cover and everything like that. He's probably not really gonna stop with it and everything just because he's probably thinks that's a great idea, and he's 35 and has kids now and has a dad bod and whatnot. You can't really stop it, but he's still gonna be one of my all-time favorites. And shit, I remember the NFR guys the last couple weeks too, making, Lou made that whole video on, some of these rappers that aren't top 100 all time, and we were pretty shocked to see that Lil Uzi Vert, Juice, Cardi, all these other guys were not mentioned in his top 100. And so they dead ass had a debate, Uzi versus Logic, which is crazy. I mean, it's actually closer than some people think. But I will say, and this is one point I want to make in this video, is that Logic does have a better catalog. And yes, I'm counting stuff like this. I don't care. I'm counting everything I've heard. Yes, he does have a better catalog than most rappers. He has a lot of albums. He's provided a lot. But if you're going to sit here and really give him that much slack because he made a just mid alternative album, decent to mid alternative album for his first book he wrote, like, I can't even believe that soundtrack album got that much hate. Get out of here. He's never been treated fairly. And let's be honest, like, still to this day in 2026, whether or not he wants to make a joke about it in his movie or he just throws out in a lyric or on Instagram, people generally interact with like the biracial stuff and talk and stuff like that. I think it's kind of absurd. I'm not gonna lie, I can't even believe how much of a talking point that still is at this point. Not that Logic has helped it out too much in some years, but definitely go check this out, if you haven't, seen it already. A couple other cool albums I wanted to mention. Benny X did his first album, Genesis FM. A lot of great instrumentals on there. He's been kind of life-changing to me on the 808s and what he's provided with, Yeat's career uprising there. He put me on to a few other new artists, like the Led By Her song on there was really good. And then he invited a couple people on there I knew to get a few decent tracks. I want to keep testing out like the replayability on there. But there's definitely some moments on there strictly for the site. Just 8 songs in total. The first half of it is insane. Denzel got a collaborator with each and every track, whether it's Tia Kareen, ASAP Ferg, kind of just making a group out of this thing. Denzel's probably gonna have his own music at the end of the year, but yeah, it was just a very specific sound and mixtape to drop off. There was good singles and videos like warming up to it. Heavy freestyle vibes he's putting on for all these artists. I really like when Denzel does a lot of those collaboration things, and he's just, one thing I respect from him is he's always like staying in this rap lane. He's always gonna do what he wants to do in his own way, and he's pretty much always done that for a whole decade, and since his 2016 XXL freshman freestyle and everything. Now I got Experiment by Ken Carson. Love Ken. It's cool, but I don't know if it's me getting older. I mess with Ken, I mess with AGC, but I unfortunately don't think he's ever gonna reach the heights of that ever again with that in the deluxe. And More Chaos was cool, but like, Experiment I thought was gonna be a lot better, and the trailers leading up to it were really hyping me up, but then he just shows up, kind of makes around the same album, and just does trailers and doesn't give us any other music videos or really that much effort, and it was called Experiment, so I think it's a little bit misleading that people thought he was gonna like really experiment with his sound, not really just like having a title with an X on it or a cool album cover and everything. I really think that's pretty much all it was. But Ken's got gynecologists on there, and I just think like each and every project, like the heights of it, or like in just like the surprise factor, all that has been really washed away from a lot of track lists. You go through 20 tracks, 22 tracks, whatever it is. I think Ken's really got to find a new recipe on the next track list, in my opinion. Like, I'm glad the last week or two Cartoons hasn't dropped. I do not need 8 more Ken Carson songs. I have so many other things to cover right now. You put your best songs on your main album and you show up to play, and Ken Carson didn't exactly show up to play, in my opinion. I was slightly disappointed with that project, although it is decent, you know what I mean? It's cool, but it's definitely got a ceiling on it, you know what I mean? Eat Shit from Jace. This was actually good. I'm speaking pretty positively about this. I usually don't really take too many Jace songs in his previous albums away. He has good songs here and there. He really didn't get a breakthrough, because of snitching allegations, or, just had a few songs, and then that was kind of it, kind of like stopped there. And, he's blackballed, and he's just streaming, he's just only catering to his fans, he's doing it just in his own world. And I respect that now, because I feel like he's, got a kid, he's probably changed a little bit, and just is in a space to really talk about the underground and in the world that he's in and where he came from, because he's still one of the better and one of the only artists from that like 2021 era and everything that are still around. Like, we don't see the Cash Dummies and all this shit nowadays. But Jace, Sofego, like, there's a few names in there that are still really cool to listen to. Whereas, we're not talking about SSG Kobe and all these guys the same anymore. But Eat Shit was probably my favorite album from Jace, and other than like alternative sounds he's done. He went back to disco pop. I've actually always enjoyed his versatility and other random things like that he's done. I've appreciated that from him, and how he's produced and always dropped so much music and everything. But this was an actual legit rap project where most of it was good, and it was probably better than Future's album, which I have on my worst albums list. And I can't even believe I'm saying that. Shout out Speed by Evan Fong, pretty short. I didn't even really know who this was and didn't know his real name, but it's just Vanoss Gaming, bro. I'm being dead ass here. Dude is like living life, putting out very solid music. Did a couple of videos to it, nice aesthetics and everything. It's nice alternative music, and he had a couple well-written songs. I'm sure his music will keep getting better and better from here, and that actually did solid, like the reaction to it and like people catching on to his music in that lane of alternative. Like, I saw some support for it. It's pretty cool. Monica from Jack Harlow is not bad. He went to this, soul lane, and I think wanted to make something that he probably listens to himself, and that, he wanted and that he likes, and just really locked in for some different sessions on this thing. Absolutely. He's done pop songs in the past. He's rapped before, and he had a lot of hits a few years ago, and I think a lot of people are gonna treat him a little bit differently when he goes and does this. I'm sure he knew this was a weird play for his career, even doing like a very smaller tour, very intimate, tour that he's about to start here for Monica. But there's actually some good songs throughout there that have caught my attention throughout it. It's an easy listen, I'm saying. It shocked me the direction he went, like on the first track and everything, with the R&B side as well. But I completely get not liking it. I'm saying? Like the hats on full tilt, I'm saying? The different hat styles, the riding bikes on TikTok. It's obviously playing into it a little bit for sure. But I always will think Jack Harlow is funny. Always be a fan of that white boy. Absolutely. And it's not like a ridiculous switch up. I want to be honest. Like, it could have been a lot different. And if you're gonna be like a white boy and you're gonna go like the Post Malone route or whatever, I feel like that's a lot different of a conversation. And Jack Harlow, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit different than that. Bully from Kanye was his best album in years. Had nice drums on it. Chipmunk soul, whatever you want to call it. Couple decent songs on there. I don't know why Nine Vicious is featured on there, and a couple other random things. Not every song's good, but at the same time, I was like, damn, there's some actual like legit performances from Kanye. Like, I feel something again, because you didn't feel anything on Vultures 1 and 2. You had a couple decent collaborations, Ty Dolla $ign's trying to hold it down, but it was just like, I was so done with that era, and like there was obviously so much Kanye bullshit to try to ignore, or that was probably taking a lot of us out of the music, and everyone kind of wanted him to retire. Was he going crazy? But it was like cool to actually see Bully come out. I think it had some patch notes as well, so I gotta check that out. Like, doing performances again, Stand on the Globe, having this music out, it actually being like listenable, normal music. He's not like unhinged talking about the craziest shit. It's very normal Kanye music. So I was like, that's good. That's good. I think Kanye is done though. Like, after Donda, I don't really see. I think he's I think he's gonna surprise us maybe here and there, but I think he's pretty much done. I'm just not really sure in his catalog like what else he could do on this journey he's already been on this decade. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he should stop dropping music or anything. I just like, Bully's cool, but if Bully's not going to enter my top 20 this year, like I'm not really sure like if I'll ever be able to like super love a Kanye project again, unless he's able to just tap into My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy world all of a sudden again. Then that's I'll probably be wrong. But out of the 3 Drake albums he dropped, Habib T was a lot better than Made in Honor. More R&B side. I found some nice playable songs on there. High Fives is a good one. But I really liked some of the slower stuff he was doing on there. Again, separated it really well throughout all his projects. Don't Be Dumb, ASAP Rocky also dropped earlier this year. Was it worth the wait for that one? Probably not, 7 years, whatever it was. But him with the helicopter, all his stages, just yelling, cussing in the speakerphone, microphone he has on tour looks nuts right now. That probably, the Crash Dummy shit, I mean, that probably brings the album up a few points and everything like that. I'm sure that's a pretty different experience, I'd like to imagine. Could probably grow on me a little bit. I like a punk rocky sound on there as well. A couple, skips in there, but definitely some songs are gonna hold up for me. I gotta admit, I've never been like a super duper fan of ASAP Rocky. I do still have to go back and hear some of his oldest like projects and mixtapes too. I have to fully admit to that. Maid of Honor, sorry, I gotta mention that because it was just so unserious, you know what I mean? Like the Sexy Red song, couple bad ones, even like the club songs I like, it's not like they're like Nokia or anything. So it's cool. Even the single with Central C, like that probably ended up being the best song still. So if the single you've already heard ends up being the best song, clearly that always isn't like the greatest feeling when you go into an album. But thankfully, he kept a few of these songs separated over here, and it's just kind of like pick your favorites. I think it's gonna be almost everybody's like least favorite album that dropped out of this batch, and just I think pretty easily Made of Honor is one of his worst albums. I'd like to say Early Life Crisis. I liked Netspend. I liked BAFK and his like first rookie year and everything, and his visuals were awesome, and then now we've thrown a lot of that away. He had a cool rollout to this as well, but just didn't really do anything with it. He was using the wrong voice, deepening his voice too much. The beats were just ear piercing for a lot of it, and it was too much going on at times. There was only like a few good songs, like a We Ready and stuff like that. And so I just with that funny ass cover of the kid selfie, like I don't know, I was expecting so much better, and it was a lot of chaos, a lot more than I thought, but I then realized with this album and a few others around this time that I'm about to talk about, that's just where the sound is going a lot more. Like a Before Emotions with Nine Vicious. That's just straight Whole Lotta Red knockoffs. The screaming, the yelling, the bad voices, all that stuff, like I was saying. It's not appropriate. It's not good. Before Emotions is terrible, and then like there's actually a few good songs on Emotions, and I really switched my mood on those when I reacted to those. So if you didn't see that, I don't have full 100% Nine Vicious hate, although he's easily one of the worst characters outside of rap, if not the worst right now. I think that's pretty obvious. He's Mr. Beef with everybody. We'll see how long his reign lasts in the underground with his Jew chain and everything. Kids go crazy at Rolling Loud. I want to see his performances, but like he's not a good vocalist. He's way too aggressive and disrespectful, and I don't see where this is going at all. And he looks like he's built like a bug. He's like 4'1" anyway. Young Thug, all this stuff, copycat of all these people in the underground. I'm not down for it. Savior So Based, I think this is my least favorite project of the year in terms of like how many songs I have saved from it. Now I don't hate Xavier So Based that much. I'm not trying to hate all these underground guys so much. They're just none of them can put together goddamn projects at all, and there's just so many times where you are just like, what am I listening to? You have so many questions on what's going on. Like Xavier's always going to be so offbeat. A few funny lines in there, a couple songs, but like gosh man, I wish he was better, you know what I'm saying? Like a couple of these guys have cool personalities, and some I wish it was a tad better, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't even put like Too Slimy's EP on here. I guess it's not an album, but Too Slimy's album, if I heard it, probably would be number 1 on here, just based off his EP. Real Me for Future, like, after a couple listens to it, it's so sad that like there's only a couple highs on this project that are like still mixtape vibes. And I thought him taking a break last year would be a little bit better for him, but it ended up backfiring quite a bit. I thought this was going to be hitting on a different level, kind of baited having features on it, and yeah, just didn't really reach the heights of the Metro collaborations and albums that I had and that I was listening to. Pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll kind of see where Future goes from here. He's kind of getting on the older side. Not really saying anything there, but I did expect it to be a lot more interesting. But it's not like he really hyped us up anyway. It was just kind of like a here, damn, here's this album. I think it will kind of come and go, unfortunately. People don't like the album cover and his short hair and stuff like this nowadays. And so yeah, I don't know what it is. There's a couple good ideas on there that just didn't end up working for me. Or even like a fun song like Alice. Like it's cool, but like I don't know. It's just like it's not even, that fun in my opinion. It's not taking over my rotation, anything like that. And I just put, Harry Styles on here as well. Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. The Pop Lane or something that, I thought was going to be played a lot more for me, but just had a few cool songs in it. There's a few songs that come on from it that are like not too impressive. A few songs might be too long on there. It's all right. It's all right. We'll see where Harry goes in his career. I feel like he's like slightly less zesty and whatnot in this era, and definitely went for a different album title and instrumental lane on a few tracks, but not my favorite or cup of tea or anything like that. But yeah, that's just kind of my long ramble this morning. Gonna get this video out and everything. Those are my favorite projects of the year. That's kind of my list and everything I'm listening to up until this point. I'm gonna do more just kind of rambling discussion videos on other topics as well, just to get more videos out throughout the week. Album reviews, showing you guys a new series. Gonna keep showing you guys my vinyls. Gonna be playing games on stream. Gonna keep reacting to stuff on stream. I'm really excited. And again, the last like month or two have been a lot better for content this summer. The new game plan, everything I've had in the last month has been, a lot better. So really appreciate the support. Didn't know how long this video was going to be. I'll make a few cuts and whatnot, but it should just be a lot of rambling. And I think I want a few of my videos to feel like, a podcast at times. And I want some of these videos to be edited, but then there's also got to be videos just posted, and a few of them just got to be, talky and just kind of got to be cuts or feel like the ones on stream as well or over on the second channel. So just gonna, keep getting stuff out. And yeah, I love you guys. All the links are in the description and whatnot if you need those. And I'll be back next week, when I'm on my trip, and we'll be, going crazy once again on the channel. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. If you did, drop a like on the video if you guys can. And things are only going up from here. That's absolutely for certain. Hope you guys have a good weekend as well. Go watch the Summer Smash vlog. Catch up on the reactions if you need to. A bunch more stuff posted. I'm going to go turn up, and I got to go road trip. So peace. Take care.